Welcome back, friends at G&K. It's good to be back with you. First of all, I want to give a shout out and thanks to all our viewers that were at our client meeting in the last couple weeks. We had a really good turnout, some really good information, and we really appreciate you guys being with us, and we appreciate working with you. In today's video, I want to talk about something that generally comes up this time of year that we spend a lot of time and effort on, and there may be some confusion as to what's right and what's wrong or what's necessary, but that happens to be variable rate seeding prescriptions. I think a lot of confusion that surrounds seeding prescriptions is because in this day and age, many of you are offered to get those for free.
Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Some of you might pay for them, but I want to address a few things around those to help you understand maybe right from wrong and what might fit your farm. For those of you that don't know, we can and do build variable rate seeding prescriptions that are custom tailored to your farm and your fields based on several factors, which I will address.
I didn't even know you guys could do that.
We can. These are built off of a proprietary method that we have developed over years of research ourselves, proven by ourselves to determine the right way versus the wrong way to do them. So our method is heavily driven by really two factors that influence a third. And those two factors are topography and elevation and its impact to the hydrology of your farms and its relationship on how it affects different rates that you might seed, whether it's corn or beans. So we build these layers to model that environment so we can plug in rates that fit that so you can best utilize a technology that is at your disposal on your planter or in your tractor cab. So seeding prescriptions really started 20 years ago for us, and it really started by seed companies coming around and saying, well, you need to plant this rate or that rate. So our question was how do you know what the right rate is? So we started evaluating it for ourselves and building prescriptions, putting constant rate strips in there to give us data back that we could subset by yield environment to see really what is the right rate. And that's what started us down this path. We also then realized that hydrology modeling is really where it's at. So a lot of seeding prescriptions are actually built by yield data. And one of the risks on that is yield data might be a 1-year snapshot or a 2-year snapshot, and weather patterns can drive or change yield maps to shift them. So you got to be careful about only using yield data because it may not be the true picture. The other thing that's happened is sometimes yield maps are incorporated with Surgo data, which are your digital soil types. And those aren't very accurate either. They're a good guide, but they're not real precise. So what we found was those two pieces aren't as exact as what we could be. What we found is hydrology is really what drives seeding rates. It's where water goes and where water doesn't go, or where it dries out first versus where it doesn't dry out as quickly. And so if you can model that environment, you can put your best foot forward when it comes to building a seeding prescription. We've partnered with Brookside Laboratories, and in particular John McGuire and his intellect, to build the hydrology model. So he has an algorithm that he's developed that we did 20 years ago through trialing this to help build a hydrology model. It allows us to plug in seeding rates to the hydrology model that best represents your fields and your farms, your own environments. They're really custom tailored to your own fields. We have most generally seen a 7 to 9 bushel advantage economically to run a VRT prescription. I've seen cases where there's literally little to no economic advantage, and I've seen cases where there's a $20-some advantage. But our data has proven to us that we see about a 7 to 9 bushel advantage to utilize them. That is also followed by our hydrology modeling, not driven by yield maps only or yield maps coupled with Surgo data. We also realize that farming is not a one-size-fits-all. So for most scenarios, a hydrology model works very well. There are some exceptions to the rule. One is if you have an irrigated field, our approach is a little bit different. We obviously are going to adjust rates outside the pivot versus under the pivot. So irrigated fields will have a variation of this. Secondly, if you farm farms, which there are a few viewers on here that I know are farming farms that are predominantly one soil type across the whole field, that's a little bit different approach also. So you don't see changes in elevation and topography so much. So there are other drivers that can influence those. And that's a case where actually incorporating yield data is beneficial. However, most farms in our region have variability when it comes to elevation and topography. Also, keep in mind, elevation and topography are not the same thing. So those are two separate things that we marry together and incorporate into the hydrology model. So seeding prescriptions most generally are not the make or break it of your farm. Okay, you can plant a flat rate and be just fine. You can run a variable rate and be just fine. VRT seeding is just an incremental management step that's a whole system of good management. So if you have the technology on your farm or on your planter, you can utilize this to your benefit. As you know, sometimes free isn't always free. You do get what you pay for. For those of you that we've been building them, we appreciate that. We're very happy with how they turn out. Those of you that are watching that are interested, give any one of us a call our office. We will be glad to run through the process with you and help lay this out. Until then, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.
Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Then, of course, you get married and you wake up one day and realize, oh my God, I've married a cow.